Welcome back to SGT. Today I'm going to be giving you a quick preview of a feature that I've been working on for the last 4 or 5 days here, quite non-stop actually. Today we're going to be showcasing my first ever custom dungeon. I've been spending the last few days figuring out a really nice algorithm for nested modular structure spawning, and what this basically means is I have now added a secondary section to end cities, which occasionally spawns, called the end city basement. If you guys want to think of a better name, you're welcome to, but basically it's all just called the end city basement right now. But basically every time that you find an end city, there is a chance, a 60% chance in fact, that you will find a basement underneath the end city. So usually when you spawn the original end city room, which is the kind of little square room, it would actually spawn on top of like different like bridges and walkways and things, and we want to make sure that this only spawns at the very bottom of the structure on the very first section. So I've basically got like a height detection system. There is a randomizer built into this thing as well. There are over 30 different structure pieces that can be used. It works in every direction. There is a lot going on here, trust me. This thing is far from finished. I'm yet to decorate any of the hallways. I'm yet to include entities. I'm yet to include the treasures that you can find down here. But basically, it's working. It's finished, it's working, and I'm really proud of it. Sorry, it's not finished, but like the code part is finished. The annoying part is finished. So here we go. So when you enter a end city, you might see this, and yeah, we got a nice one. Nice. Anything else? Cool. Okay, good. I'm just making sure we got a cool one. That's kind of like the sign that there's a cool stuff going on down there. So basically, every time you find an end city, there is a 60% chance that you will find this structure right here in the very first room that you find. Now, usually you'd have the little staircase going up to the second level, just to the right of it here. But yeah, if you were to venture down into here, you're going to find some pretty cool stuff. Now, as I said, this structure uses 30 different structure modules, so you can get a lot of randomization when viewing this structure. There's the Skylight Room we just spawned over there. But basically, if you find these things in the end, they're going to be really, really fun to explore. So I'm going to give myself night vision and we'll try this thing out. So effect give Excalibur night vision 100,000 0. True, I'm not going to give away everything, but I'm going to give you guys a good idea of how this could work in the future, because it's going to be really cool if you are playing with this in your world. Now, usually this little starting room has a high chance of spawning rooms with dead ends, which is a shame, because it means that there is, of course, a tiny, tiny chance that you get a room which simply has this short corridor with an ending strip on all 4 directions. But as you can see here, we've got 2 more interesting rooms either side. So first of all, this room right here is a treasure room. It's kind of mimicking the end city ship. I've just realized how dumb that looks. That looks really dumb. That should look like that, shouldn't it? Yeah, that's I'll fix it. I'll fix it later. But yeah, basically this is kind of like the treasure room that you can see here. Why did I think that looked good? It doesn't look good. But yeah, as I said, there are no chests yet. There are no entities. There aren't even the treasures inside of these rooms right here. But basically, all of these different rooms will have a cool treasure in them. You can see we got one all the way down here as well. Every time you explore these structures, there are a number of different rooms that you can expect to find. You can find stairwells down to secondary levels in these basements as well. As you can see here, we have additional rooms. There's like an ender here and like a little bit of a corridor on another end here. This is the Skylight Room that we saw up above, so if you're on the surface of the end, you'll be able to see this thing poking through nearby where the end city starts. It's just a cool little feature. I think it looks really nice, and it also means that, like when we were in that other room before, you can see a bit of light coming down from the surface, which is also really cool. And you can see down here we actually got another treasure room as well, so 2 treasure rooms in total. So yeah, it's pretty cool. These things can spawn really big. Sometimes they spawn huge, and sometimes they do spawn quite small. It all really just depends on the randomizer. But basically, this size that we're exploring right now is about the average, I would say. This is kind of what you can expect from an average end dungeon. I'm going to spawn another one, and we'll see how it looks. But yeah, it's so neat though. I love it. There is, of course, a tiny chance that these things can breach the edge of end islands, but I've also kind of prepared for that as well, using a lot of structure voids. But yeah, I just love how well this thing's working. It doesn't seem to fail. Like every single time... Oh, I got a kitchen. Nice. Every single time we use it... This is a massive one. Holy, this is a huge one. So every time I use this thing, it just work really well. Like I've never had any disappointment with this. The nested structure spawners that I'm using use a really cool algorithm, which I'm really pleased with. It basically ensures that there is minimal to no usage of things like observers that rely on bud updates to basically activate the structure block. So it almost always works. I say almost always. I've never had it fail yet. I have not seen this structure fail at spawning once, because a lot of the time what you'll see with like custom structures is that, if you go into a room where a custom structure would have spawned, there's like command blocks and structure blocks and observers left over because they didn't activate properly, because Minecraft is laggy as shit and inconsistent. So my function function basically uses only one observer, which always activates itself when the previous structure spawns, and then it uses looping observers to ensure that the subsequent structures always spawn. So it basically uses a complex system of double observers, which are, let me just give you an example. Like an observer that looks, let me just get this working properly. Like an observer that looks like this. Damn it. Like that. There we go. Yeah, and you see they always pulse like that. That is a stupid fucking texture. What the fuck? Is that broken? Is that really how the observer looks? That is so bad. Holy shit. Yeah, but it always uses those, which makes it more interesting. And you can see here we can occasionally get an additional extra layer to the end city, as well as more of these treasure rooms as well. Now, there are a lot of things that are work in progress about this. I'm yet to tweak a lot of the percentages for the chances that these rooms can spawn. I'm yet to add all the chests. I'm yet to add all the entities that will be fighting you down here. You can see here some of the rooms are very barren. I've just got a basic idea of how the room size is going to be and what's going to be in the room. But yeah, these are obviously very far from finished. There aren't even like things like end rods in here. It's completely barren. But yeah, actually, if we go down to this extra level here as well, we've got another one of these bonus rooms, but we got a stopper, a stopper, a stopper, and a stopper. So I need to tweak the chances of all the spawn rates for these clearly. But I do think it's looking really good. So basically, what this system does is every time we spawn one of these structures, I'm gonna get lost in here. I mean, great. That should be happening, but still annoying. Every time one of these structures spawns, it uses a complex system to basically pick a new structure to spawn. All it really is just a long line of complex, like, set blocks, to be honest. Effect clear Excalibur, there we go. So yeah, so every time we spawn one of these structures, you can see here, this is kind of how it works. So this is the east-facing skylight. Let's see. Yeah, east-facing skylight. So basically, every time this one spawns, you can see here we have this command block which clears any of the previous structure blocks behind it. So as long as the new structure spawns, all of the previous ones which would have otherwise been annoying and got in the way are cleared immediately. This function just basically replaces all command blocks, structure blocks, observers in like a 3x3 area around itself. So it always works quite nicely. This one right here is a randomizer to spawn the downward stairwell. There is an 80% chance. No, not 80. A 40% chance that it will spawn the stairwell and a 60% chance that it will just simply delete itself. And as you can see here, we have things like corridor short north is going to try and stretch a short corridor this way and a short corridor that way, but the corridor opposite the original direction is going to try and stretch a regular corridor, so corridor in the east direction. So there are a lot of structures. There are about 4 of every structure, 1 for every single direction. You can see here we have the east-facing one, this is the south-facing one, this is the west-facing one, and the north-facing one is down there. But basically, they all use a complex array of all these different, you can see here, observer command block combos, which then spawn additional observers above this observer to loop the redstone, and also a new structure block here based on a random chance to basically spawn the new structure, which then spawns in this block, which clears the previous structure, and so on. So it's basically flawless. I haven't had it fail once, as I've said. A true test would be to load this thing in the end, obviously, when all the entities and chests are completed, because that might cause a lot of lag, and observers are unfortunately very inconsistent, so it might cause lag and might fail. I'm yet to test it fully to its complete capacity, because obviously it's not finished yet. I do need to decorate these things as well, but I should be getting on with that in the next few days, and I'm hoping to release SGT v2.5 maybe tomorrow or maybe the day after. Probably tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow, but yeah. Yeah, I'm really pleased. Honestly, of all the stuff left to do now, I've already made the loot table for the chests that are going to be spawning in this thing, apart from I actually want to have a unique loot table for the kitchen as well. This is the kitchen piece right here. And of course, then I need to decorate these things and figure out a good way of spawning in shulkers. Because the default entity structures use a special command block to spawn in shulkers, but those don't work with manually spawned structures, unfortunately. You can see over here, like this is the end city ship, for example. We have a structure block here, which is just called sentry, and that will spawn in a shulker every time this structure spawns. But as you can see here, if I spawn the structure manually, it's not going to be converted into a shulker. It's going to stay as this broken block, because Mojang wants to hard code some things apparently, which is fun. But yeah, so I need to basically figure out a system which does that, but just like manually. So like a command block that automatically turns itself into a shulker, for example. That would be very easy to set up, but it's just doing it basically. Other than that, the hardest part with all this really is going to be balancing it. I could just leave it as it is currently, because I really like the percentage chances of these like skylights spawning and the secondary layers and stuff. They usually are about the same size, but you can very rarely get a tiny ass one, which is just kind of annoying. Like here's a tiny one over here. You can see here, This is really disappointing. All it did is it spawned one tiny hallway, one tiny hallway, one tiny hallway, and one treasure room. That's it. That's all we got. Like, how boring. Like, imagine if you found a basement and it's just this. Like, it would be like finding an end city that only had one tower. Oh, wait, that happens. No, I'm going to be better than Mojang. I'm going to be better. But yeah, it's all working. It's all working perfectly. I love my custom nested structure spawning algorithm. I'm really pleased with it. I've poured about 3 days of my life into this so far. But now it's time to kit these all out with the chests and the shulkers and everything in between. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you are looking forward to this as much as I am. I think it's going to be awesome. And in the future, I am definitely looking to expand this premise to other structures as well as my own custom structures. But for now, this took a long time to make. You can see here that my test world is filled with random shit. You can see here I was testing the original structure spawning algorithm before I started adding all the different custom rooms. This one only has regular corridors and treasure rooms. Yeah, look how big my test world is now. Like, it's massive. For reference, this is the area where we do all of our resource pack stuff. Like, look how tiny this is now in comparison. This is resource pack stuff. I have to load more of the world to show you all the end city stuff because it's that big. Like, it's just huge. I've used up so much space testing all this stuff. It's awesome. But yeah, I'm really pleased. So it's going really well. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you're as excited for this as I am, and I'll be releasing this pack in the next few days for definite. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Take care, and bye-bye.